Hi there, friend. Welcome back to NorCast Weather School. It is so good to see you. If you're visiting for the first time, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm NorEasterNick, your friendly neighborhood weatherman. If you're a fan of weather, there's something that really interests you about tornadoes or lightning or thunderstorms or snowstorms. For me, my favorite weather event to talk about is hurricanes. And how lucky, because in today's episode, we're going to be talking all about them. Right off the bat, it's important to understand that a hurricane's not just going to randomly pop up in your backyard. It's not going to spontaneously appear in the middle of the country. That's just not how it works. They form, however, over large bodies of water. We're talking seas and oceans. And there are three main ingredients that go into the development of tropical depressions, storms, and ultimately hurricanes. The first and most important factor is the warm water. You're looking at temperatures of at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Above that, a soupy, moist air mass is needed for the development of clouds and thunderstorms, and above that, light upper level winds. Just like with thunderstorms on the mainland, that warm, moist air rises into the atmosphere, cools and condenses, and as that happens time and time again, you get the development of showers and thunderstorms. Eventually, you have outside air replacing that initial air rising into the atmosphere, and that begins to rotate counterclockwise. This will promote the development of your area of low pressure, and a tropical system is born. There are multiple steps involved in the development of hurricanes. It all starts off with a cluster of thunderstorms forming a tropical depression. These are generally disorganized with winds under 39 miles an hour and minimal impacts to any area they interact with. As the rising air intensifies and thunderstorms build closer to the center, the depression gets upgraded to a tropical storm. These feature stronger winds, ranging from about 39 miles an hour to 73 miles an hour, and can cause some damage. Once the upgrade happens, the storm is automatically assigned a name. A hurricane is born when the tropical storm becomes so organized and the air pressure drops to a point that the sustained winds come up to over 74 miles an hour. The most dangerous of these storms are called major hurricanes, and they are ranked as a category 3, 4, or 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale and can house winds to over 155 miles an hour. A landfalling major hurricane can create catastrophic damage. They can become so intense and so well organized that they can even alter weather patterns. The stronger the storm, the more well-defined the eye or the center of the storm becomes. Development of tropical storms and hurricanes will vary by location depending on the time of the season. Early on in June, the Gulf of Mexico has the best chance of seeing storms form. Most likely tracks go into Texas and even into Florida and the southeast United States. Later in the season, everything changes. The Atlantic Basin heats up with activity. The most likely areas to see a landfalling tropical system include the Caribbean islands, the Bahamas, the U.S. East Coast, and even the Gulf Coast. Long track storms coming off the west coast of Africa slowly head towards the mainland United States and can dominate headlines for up to 2 weeks. Storms can also take a southern route between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico into the Gulf. The most dangerous aspect of a landfalling hurricane isn't the rain or wind, and both can be pretty bad, but if you're at the coast, it's going to be the storm surge, which is an abnormal rise of water over the predicted tides. In a weaker storm, the tide comes up a little bit and there could be a couple feet of surge causing some minor flooding. But when you start to get into a stronger storm, structural damage becomes a little bit more imminent as the higher tides come up. In a major storm, you're looking at multiple feet, over 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, which can create significant storm surge on the coast. Hurricane season runs from June 1st all the way through November 30th, and while it's possible to see a storm outside of that time frame, it's not very likely. The peak of hurricane season comes in September 10th, and that is when your named storms and hurricanes become most likely and then fall off the chart into the fall season. While not every tropical depression turns into a hurricane and not every hurricane impacts land, it is still extremely important to have an emergency plan in place for you and your family to stay safe. Always know where your coastal evacuation routes are, especially if you live towards the ocean or the bay. I hope you walk away with a better understanding of exactly what a hurricane is, what they do, and where they form. Until next time, my friend, keep your eye to the sky. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel by clicking this button right here. And if you want to learn another lesson from NorCast Weather School, click this video. You can also follow me on all social media platforms. It's at NorEasterNick.